It's really my pleasure now to introduce to you Larry Williams. The Metro Atlanta Chamber as a whole has just an incredible staff of really high-quality individuals. When it comes down to planning events and activities, I always look forward to any activity that we do with the Metro Atlanta Chamber because their staff is so dedicated and committed. I've known Larry going back over 10 years. Actually, the first time I met Larry was when he was working for the state of North Carolina. He was working in their international activities there. He went from North Carolina to the state of Washington, where he ended up doing international, but he also became the acting head of the agency, which was their combination of economic development and community assistance activities there. But Larry's heart's always been in the Southeast. And when he decided it was time to come home and come to a place, he had a choice of a lot of places in the countries that he could have gone. And we are so happy and so proud that of all the places he's gone, he's ended up back here at Atlanta working with the technology industry. But I can tell you from experience that his expertise is much greater than just the technology industry with the Metro Atlanta Chamber. So with that, let me introduce Larry Williams. He will tell you specifically more information about the Metro Atlanta area.
Well, thank you so much for that kind introduction, Kathy. I'm always very proud to be here. I'm proud to be in Atlanta. It's a great place to be. Gretchen, thank you for your kind words. We always enjoy your partnership and all of the great things that we achieve together. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Atlanta for business, but first, on behalf of the Metro Atlanta Chamber and the business community and our 4,000 members at the Metro Atlanta Chamber, I want to welcome all of you to the Metro Atlanta area. We're proud to have you, and we look forward to opportunities to continue to work with you and to build those strong relationships that are the foundation of any good friendship and any good business deals. So I'm going to talk about the economic engine of the Southeast. Gretchen's already touched on those things. I'll keep that moving. Our global image, our world-class talent, our competitive business climate, and the superior quality of life that we offer here in the Metro Atlanta area. Gretchen was able to talk about the Southeast and how it is the economic engine of the U.S. I think she gave some great statistics on that, but we're also a population of 77 million people, and which is about 25% of all of the nation's population. And so whenever you want access to market, this is really a great place to be. When we get down to Atlanta itself, it is really the commercial and cultural hub of the U.S. Foreign nations seek this out. The consulates are here. There are many bilateral chambers. Those have been covered a little bit in Gretchen's presentation. But when people really look for access, it's really talking about coming to Metro Atlanta area. When we talk about the Metro Atlanta area, we're really talking about the 28-county region that's around Metro Atlanta. The population here is about 5.5 million. It's the second largest metropolitan area in the Southeast, second to Miami. And we're the 9th largest metropolitan area in the United States. So that really does set us up to be, again, that great hub for business and a very diverse business economy that it is. We have an employment of about 3 million, and we forecast about 1.7 million jobs to be created here over the next 30 years. So again, it's not only about the access to market, but it's your potential to grow in this economy and make sure that you have the talented workforce that you need. We're a center of manufacturing and distribution, and that really comes down to the Metro Atlanta area, with about 40% of North American manufacturing and distribution locations that are located within 500 miles of this area. It really is great access for products and services that are important to keep those, to supply or to fill the supply chain and keep those businesses running. And at the center of industry, we really want to talk about advanced manufacturing because it really is at the higher value end of the supply chain that we really do excel here in Atlanta. And advanced manufacturing is often represented in the automotive industry. And although it's broader than this, I think that you can get a good idea of where a lot of these centers of excellence are and where we're located right in the center of those, and we'll be able to access not only the market and the industry that needs those, but also the types of suppliers that we can, the parts, the supplies that need to get to those companies through here. And so we have about 300 companies in Georgia that are related to the automotive industry. And as everyone knows, that's becoming a much more of a high-tech industry in the composites that are being used, as well as the electronics that go into it as well. Gretchen showed you the light maps, and again, that's something that's important to Atlanta, and again, a good indication of our strategic location and the importance of the population. But also, I'm going to also talk about and brag about the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta Airport as being the world's, might be the busiest, but it's also the most efficient. So hopefully you had a good experience when you were coming through our airport and getting through here. And as Gretchen mentioned, you can get anywhere in the world, probably get anywhere in the world in a single flight than any other airport in the world, which is a very important part for doing business. But I also want to talk about the cargo that's available out of here. The world air cargo capacity is really, we have about 14 all-cargo carriers. We have about 10 that are dedicated to Europe per week, 10 flights per week, 17 that go to Asia. So whenever it comes to air cargo and being able to get into a multimodal supply chain, both through through rail and trucking, and being able to reach that population that we mentioned, the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta Airport is an extremely important component to that transportation network. Also part of that is the preeminent logistics hub, and that's really the Port of Savannah. It is on the coast of Georgia, it's important, but it's also Atlanta's port. It is our gateway to the world, and it's extremely important to us, and we enjoy our partnership both with Savannah and the state of Georgia to make sure that we can continue to make sure that's a successful and robust port, because it is such an important connecting point to us and the rest of the world as far as supplies go. And so again, and it's one of the second largest in the world, so a very important component. Metro Atlanta really offers a very diverse workforce and a diverse industry base, which is very important in the economy, as we've all seen, as the swings in the economy, as there are dips and pikes in different areas. Georgia has really been able to, the Metro Atlanta area has been able to survive those much better than many other metropolitan areas because of the diversity of manufacturing, of technology, of services. And so that's a good, more stable environment to be in as you want to be able to build out your business in areas in the United States. So Metro Atlanta really does offer that great diversity. Great Fortune 500 companies. We benefit from being known by our great corporate brands that you can see, Delta, Coca-Cola, and UPS, and those are extremely important. So we have 12 Fortune 500 headquarters that are based right here in the Metro Atlanta area. But as we go larger, you see the other large names, such as General Electric and Equifax and others that that call the Metro Atlanta area home. And as you'll see, a lot of these are technology companies, and they have really seen the diversity that's here and the importance, the access to market, the access to customers, but also, as Gretchen mentioned, the great workforce that we have here, the great innovations that come out of Georgia Tech and Georgia State and Emory and our other institutions of higher education. So we're driving a lot of the technologies that are being adopted by these companies so that they can actually get them to market and utilize all of the great technology that's being created and being the first to market. CNN is also and the Turner brands are great examples of that, and how they're really latching on to mobility and web-based services to deliver actual products and services and monetize it. Hundreds of international companies. There are about 25 international companies that already call Metro Atlanta home. And we just wanted to give you an idea. It's a little bit of an eye chart, but driven by a lot of business from Europe and then also Asia. That's a lot of our investment, but there is room for a lot more. This also creates a great diverse climate here, where there is a lot of access to different restaurants, different cultural activities, and things that really make us a true metropolitan area. again, with over 65 countries that are represented here, and consulates and other things, I think that, again, it just makes us that great international area that people want to be a part of and people can plug into. And then the many, many, international festivals and other cultural events makes it a great place for us to live and have a great international presence. I do want to touch on the talented workforce again. Gretchen said it very well. We have to have a great workforce in order to be successful in business. And with over 2 million people in our workforce, 34% of that population, 25 years and over, have completed higher education, bachelor's degree, or postgraduate. So as we go through any kind of unemployment statistics, as the higher levels of education, the less that is, and we have a lot of that in the pipeline and available for your business here. And again, a lot of that is driven by technology, engineering, software development, and design. Top higher education, the Georgia Institute for Technology is one of the 3 best engineering schools in the country, often not recognized for the great talent that comes out of there, as well as the great innovations that come out of there. Emory, as well as University of Georgia and Georgia State, all go to make up a wonderful network of education that can supply a lot of needs, but it's also providing research to companies who partner with the universities to develop new companies and new ways to approach services, as well as new entrepreneurs that come out. We do focus in on certain areas of targeted industries within the Metro Atlanta Chamber, including global supply chain and advanced manufacturing that I mentioned earlier, technology sectors such as internet security, digital media, are all very important, but also wireless and mobility are areas that we excel in. We have life sciences, biosciences, and a leader in health IT, and then also corporate headquarters as well as global commerce are very important to us. Just want to touch on sustainability. It's such a key issue for all of us in the world today. And sustainability takes on many areas as we all look to see how we can use our precious resources more efficiently. There's a lot of things that are going on, especially in how we use lead construction and building supplies to make sure that our buildings are the most efficient, that we have good cars that are efficient, as well as the engineering and the architecture that help support that as well. And these are also areas that we go, and then we even put incentives from the state that really help incent that type of behavior through solar as well as wind and electric vehicles. Some of the accolades that we get, there are a lot of, KPMG, Site Selection Magazine, All Talk, and Forbes all talk about what a great place Metro Atlanta is to do business, and especially just from the cost of doing business. So we talked about the access to labor, but the other important component is the cost of doing business. So a competitive business advantage, and the other part is quality of life and affordability. So just jumping to that is, Atlanta, Georgia does ranks at the beginning of that. Hopefully you've been able to see a lot of the green space that we have. Whenever you fly over Atlanta, you fly over Georgia, you see the green neighborhoods. You often see the canopy. There are lots of neighborhoods that you can't see because there is so much green space and access to parks. And it really does add to the quality of life that people enjoy here. And also the cost of, being able to buy a house and buy housing is also very important. The cost of doing business, as I was mentioning before, best metro area in the United States for doing business and the cost of doing business, with a very competitive tax structure that allows people to to do great business here, as well as some statutory incentives that support that. The state of Georgia does offer many incentives that go to a lot of different areas. So you can see some of them there. I'm not going to go through, they are in your presentation, but we're happy to answer any questions or get more specific with you We can answer some of the questions at the Metro Atlanta Chamber, but we partner directly with the Georgia Department of Economic Development to really get all the details that you need around business incentives. Again, quality of life, we have, this really is a metropolitan area. So museums, operas, ballet, other festivals, historic museums, they're all right here. They're great assets, and they're a lot of fun. And as I'm a relative newcomer back to Atlanta, it's fun for me to get back involved in these and explore these areas as well. So hopefully while you're here, you'll be able to see some, but it's always a good reason to be able to come back. In addition to the museums, we have great sports, baseball, U.S. football, and as well as a lot of the shopping and other things that are important that people enjoy doing whenever they have a little bit of free time. So again, I want to just really talk about the great partnership that we have with the state of Georgia. Can't thank you enough for inviting us here today. So a lot of the services that we are able to provide, we want to talk to you about the diversified opportunities that we can offer in the metro Atlanta area, our business environment, remember the infrastructure, market access, the cost of business, and the talent base that is here, great quality of life, and the know-how and business connections and incentives available. So again, on behalf of the business community here in the metro Atlanta area, we're pleased to have you here. We welcome your partnership, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Gretchen and Larry, I want to thank you both, not only for excellent presentations, but for not running over on time. So I want to thank you guys for that. I hope that what you have heard is not just information about Atlanta and Georgia, but I hope what you've heard is about a spirit of collaboration, that it's really about partnerships that you have within the state, between the state and local partners, between the local partners, the state partners, and the university systems, between the private sector as well, but a spirit of collaboration that really sparks a lot of innovation. Larry mentioned about the technology companies. Well, that innovation is married with this higher education system within our state and really creates a very strong pro-business environment. We've talked about companies making a strategic choice to move to the Southeast, and the Southeast being a thriving home. Companies have a choice where they want to go. Well, they pick the place where they can thrive and where they'll be best. And so you'll see that one of the reasons why the Southeast is growing, in particular Georgia and in particular Atlanta, is because of this real spirit of collaboration, a spirit of innovation, and an incredible pro-business strategy and attitude that really you feel throughout any of the local leaders that you have. We want you to know that we are open for business. We are a welcoming community. We would love to have more business from Saudi Arabia. With that, let me open this up for questions that you may have for either Gretchen or for Larry, or just questions in general. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay, let me repeat the question just so everybody can hear it. The question was about education sector, and we talked a lot about the higher education sector, the universities, and the question was whether the information in the presentation only was about the public sector institutions or if it included the private sector institution as well. So why don't I turn that over for both Gretchen and Larry.
See if this microphone works. Great. Actually, the answer is yes. It does include both. Whether it's Emory University here from a higher education standpoint, or also from K through 12, our kindergarten through 12, through high school, which we call here. Those are also, we have some very good private opportunities in the metro area. We can obviously provide you any of those that you would like.
And obviously, Emory is the preeminent private institution in this area, but there are also other ones, and should always mention the Savannah College of Art and Design, which has locations in Savannah as well as in Atlanta, which is really an innovative approach to higher education, but when it gets into digital media, when it gets into to design, and being able to use art as a way of actually achieving the animation and other things that are going on today to develop the content. It's very innovative.
And let me also say, tomorrow night at the dinner, you're going to have 3 keynote addresses, one of which is going to be from Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle, and his theme is going to be on education. So I think he's going to talk to you more about that for just a very short presentation tomorrow night. So yes, great question. Thank you. Another question. All right, let me give Gretchen an opportunity and Larry an opportunity. If you have any final remarks you guys would like to make, anything that you sat down and you said, oh, you've got a question, okay?
It's a remark rather than a question. My name is Ahmed Al-Suwaidan. I work industry, electrical industry, and we have been manufacturing electrical equipment since 1982 with a Belgian partnership and licensing. You mentioned that Georgia is highly rated for small business. And my remark or advice or suggestion is that normally small business, they may have good product or good technology for specific product or application, but they are so small they cannot go out internationally and market their technology or their applications. If you can organize in a way to gather a lot of these technologies and small business and establish partnerships like in Saudi Arabia, for example, we at the same time trying to develop the small business for so many years. And also they normally do not come out to such international conferences and present themselves. So there is a need for a vehicle or a channel to tap technologies from small businesses here with investors who are interested in such technologies and processes in Saudi Arabia. And you mentioned something very interesting that Coca-Cola started as a small business. Most of big businesses in the world start as very small. So if we pay attention to try to build bridges and relationships between small businesses in Saudi Arabia and small businesses in Georgia, then perhaps we will see more large internationally present companies here in Georgia and in Saudi Arabia with partnership and alliances and cooperation.
Excellent point. Did everyone hear that, or would you like for me to repeat? Please repeat. Okay, I'm going to attempt to repeat. He was making an incredible point about the importance of small businesses, not just in Georgia, but in Saudi Arabia as well. And what small businesses need help with is making connections through innovation, through technology, but through partnerships and investors, and coming up with a mechanism that would help small businesses on both sides connect with each other. And, you know, so in a short version, I will just say before I turn this over that within the state of Georgia, you'll find that 655,000 number that was up earlier, 97.5% of those companies are classified as small business. So while we have the really large companies, the Coca-Colas and the CNNs, we have the small companies as well. So you're talking about something that's very near and dear to our heart, is coming up with a infrastructure that really helps small businesses thrive. So instead of me talking, let me turn this over to Gretchen and to Larry and let y'all add a few comments.
Well, I would just say kind of from the business development piece that we have discussed today, it's just like Kathy said, whether we are bringing in businesses, some are large, but some are small. We find that, especially you say that you have a Belgian partner. We have lots of companies from Europe that will come into the United States, into Georgia, and locate their facility in Georgia. And they're 5 people, 10 employee, maybe up to 20 employee facilities. And what they're doing is they're just establishing a presence, a sales presence, maybe a distribution presence. And what we have found over 5, 10, 15 years is that those companies, although they're small at that point, just like you say, it's about establishing a network. And once they establish, they grow to be larger companies. And so as we're discussing doing that in Georgia, we also want to discuss doing that in Saudi Arabia. From the trade perspective, where Kathy and her team spend so much time, what we are doing is partnering our Georgia companies that want to do business outside of the United States, that want to sell their product outside of the United States. And we do that by matching, by doing buying programs, matching programs between our Georgia companies and Saudi Arabia companies that could form partnerships. And those, we pride ourselves in those being small businesses. We like to say that CNN and Coca-Cola could teach us how to export, but it's the small companies that need to export. But really, and I'm sorry, I'm about to pass it over. But going to your true question of technology, that is something that we do well through the Georgia Institute of Technology, whether it's with incubator partnerships that are working with our small companies that are developing technology, and then connecting them with venture capitalists or business partners. We seem to do that best through our private and our university institutions, and I think that's why that's one of those reasons that we talk so much about our university system. That's where our strength is.
I was really going to emphasize that university system as well, and here that's where a lot of that connectivity happens all around the world. I'll be glad to get you plugged into that too.
If I could just add what they were saying too, we are undertaking a brand new initiative at the Department of Economic Development that will have the support of organizations like the Metro Atlanta Chamber that's going to inventory those small businesses with innovative products and services with international potential. That will be on the website. Our goal is to have that finished. Unfortunately, it's going to take a few months to finish it up, but we should have that within the next year. So we encourage you to go online to georgia.org, and you'll be able to find that information in the coming months. But we've just signed a contract that has a vendor that's helping us to inventory that information. So that is coming. It's a great, I was thrilled to see that, so
Yeah, well,
thank you.
I will add just to your point, the importance of the collaboration is key, because as companies, for example, from the U.S. that want to enter Saudi Arabia, they need the help of the local partners to be able to localize their products and services for that local market and have that entryway. So the partnerships are absolutely critical, and I think you make a marvelous point.
And I saw a hand right back here.
Thank you so much for your comments about small business. The biggest problem we have about small business in the States, and especially now with credit crunch, is, okay, I'm not a high-tech company, and venture capitalists are not going to come running to me. I've been in small business with Saudi Arabia for 20 years, no capital has ever came, and I've applied for loans. So is there anything in the works, regardless of what I do, but just for real small businesses, finance, we need financing.
Okay.
And it has to be available, and, you know, if you're starting a business where there's no capital, not a manufacturing company, you know, nobody's gonna invest in it. So that's a really big problem, since everybody's supposed to start a small business.
All right, let me summarize that. Her question was, one of the real challenges for small business has to be on the finance side. Small businesses have great innovative products and services, but it's difficult oftentimes for small businesses to get the necessary capital they need to do business internationally. So with that, let me turn that one over to Gretchen and Larry.
No, you can have that one.
Okay. Well, we would absolutely agree with you. As it is with any small company, when you're getting off the ground, financing is the toughest spot, is the toughest time. And we realize that through this recession, it's become even tougher. I think that's why you will see Governor Dill in our legislature look towards some items this coming session that will be able to assist small businesses and Georgia businesses in general in financing. So I can't roll too much out on behalf of the governor, but I would say we agree with you. Governor Dill just went through the state of Georgia on a competitiveness initiative with the Georgia Chamber of Commerce to see what are the concerns of Georgia businesses. We like to say that we're doing great, and we are. But we want to make sure that we're hearing from Georgia businesses to hear how we can be stronger, how we can do better, whether it's in Georgia or it's abroad. And obviously, financing is one of those pieces that we've heard from, and we want to make sure that we are looking towards some solutions. So want you to know that we are looking towards solving or providing some more opportunities, But also, maybe I would love to speak to you afterwards and hear of any suggestions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any last comments from Larry or Gretchen? You guys okay? Well, let me again ask the staffs at the Department of Economic Development. Yes, go ahead.
Comment on that.
Please.
Small businesses, let's say here in Georgia, if they have a good product or a good application of technology, there is venture capital companies in Saudi Arabia, which is now developing, with a connection between the departments, concerned departments, you might be able to find them partners who are interested to get into the business at the early stage, where it could be attractive because it's not expensive in the beginning. And you find some investors, knowledgeable investors, who are technically qualified in that line of business, and they are willing to come in and push and develop the business together in partnership. So that is a source of finance, but again, they cannot do it alone. It has to be that mechanism that has to be installed very efficiently.
Perfect. And again, just so I'll summarize for those of you who are in the back of the room, a solution to the problem is what he was offering, is saying that by partnering with venture capital firms in Saudi Arabia, that gap between the access of the venture capital could potentially be solved, especially in the early stages of having a company, because in the early stages it's much less expensive for venture capitalists to get involved there. So another solution, in addition to some of the stuff that the governor is looking at rolling out as based on these competitiveness initiative that he's going to. So great comments, great feedback, exactly what we were hoping for. Yes, sir.
On this line, what is the mechanism for small business to tie up with a venture capital firm in Saudi Arabia?
Okay, the question is, what is the mechanism for small businesses to tie up with venture capital firms in Saudi Arabia? So you know what, I think that's a question for you. I mean, so is there a website they could go to? Is there a booth here at the forum where they could get more information on these venture capital firms in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, these companies are well known, and the Saudi Chamber of Commerce or the Ministry of Commerce, or they can locate them or give their websites and their names, and they are available, and they are looking for good opportunities.
Perfect.
As an industrialist, if you notice, I am focusing on a real partnership, whether in investing or in licensing, not in products only, not in trading. So these companies are now well established in Saudi Arabia, and I think it is easy to locate them.
Perfect. What he suggested was the Saudi Arabia Chamber of Commerce, the Minister of Commerce as well. Both of them are potential, and they're here at the forum. I don't know if they have a booth in the Resource Center, but my guess is that they do, and they also have a mechanism here at the conference for you to make those appointments as well. So great comments and suggestions. All right.
If I may, first of all, Maisie Al-Kadasa, I'm from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Welcome.
Just touch up to what he was saying. Actually, the Saudi-U.S. Business Council is a very good way to start. I personally was looking for needs in certain departments. While I worked closely with the U.S. Embassy back home, and I know the commercial department, they weren't able to help me. Yet, sitting with David gave me all the needs I know. I think it's a mutual effort. People should step up on both sides. It's not only this way or the other. That's a very good start.
Perfect. He was referencing the Saudi U.S. Business Council, and I will tell you that I went on their website several times. It is absolutely phenomenal, the information they have here. That's primary organizer of the conference today, so another incredible contact. Thank you for that very much. All right, last question, because I promised I'd get you out by 5 o'clock, so.
Or maybe if I can meet with these gentlemen after the meeting, I think that will help.
He's looking to meet with you both afterwards so he can get some more contacts, okay? Perfect. All right, let me thank Gretchen and Larry for the incredible job that you have done. Let me remind you about the presentations on the flashcard drive here from Anya Offord, and also just remind you that there are staff available from Georgia, from Atlanta, that will be here throughout the conference. So you're welcome to interact with any of us. It's a great collaborative partnership. And most of all, let me thank you for your hour. I appreciate your taking the time out. We all do, for sitting through this presentation. We greatly appreciate it. And just welcome to the state of Georgia and the city of